Everybody, Jerome Wright here again, and once again you're joining me on my Jerome Wright YouTube channel here on YouTube. In this video I'm going to be decoding a 1921 painting by famed German artist Otto Dix. And I have been doing artwork on him all week, so I have 4 other videos with paintings behind this one, which actually references that and ties Otto Dix to a hidden knowledge that only a privileged few or a select few are entitled to have, and it references the genetic bridging and altering of mankind's being, which there's an involvement of higher royalty and that of ancient rooted religion, and there can be always references of this knowledge actually referenced therein. These paintings, please forgive me because I'm all over the place today in thoughts. I have other things on my mind. I sometimes be that way when information is coming in and then going out. I mean, I'm having a genuine paranormal experience and encounter, and if I sound somewhat distant sometime and confused, it's because I actually am. All right, so I'm just imagine all of this information. My mind is like an information highway where things are constantly coming in and going out through my genuine paranormal experience and encounter. All right, I'm going to be sharing with you a very extraordinary realization here about this painting, and it's gonna absolutely blow your mind away in what I actually can do with this. Okay, again, this is Otto Dix painting Goodbye, and the title of it is The Goodbye to Hamburg, and it's dated 1921. So also I want to tell you something about 1921, because something that happened between the US and the Germans in 1921 was the fact that there was a U.S.-German peace treaty signed in that same year. So not only was this painting created in 1921, but there was a U.S. and German peace treaty signed. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you next is going to definitely have you wondering about not just the peace treaty, but the motives and everything else behind it. And I mean, things that I'm stating here, I mean, in my mind, it references crimes against humanity, genetic contamination, genetic altering, and it fingers and targets the culprits and the suspects in this. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the things that I'm finding and disclosing here may even at some point be a cause for war later on down the line here. I'm telling you that this thing, as it unfolds, more and more is coming into light as to what is going on. I mean, I remember when AIDS first came out in Africa, and or disposal had been came from Africa, so they said, that where they stated that these Africans were messing with monkeys. If that's the case, and they were messing with monkeys all along, and AIDS would have been out a long time ago. It's these genes, these diseases, these cancers, they are being created. It's a manufacturing through a gene manufacturing through a cult-like ritual that has always been in place by our ancestors, and it's designed to destroy. It's designed to strengthen other genes and destroy the ones that are not needed, that are extracted. So it's in the wake. It's like death and resurrection, creation of new, and death to the old. And that's what this is detailing. And I'm going to capture a lot of that here in this painting and show you basically what is actually being detailed here. I'm going to have to make this video short too because I'm all over the place. When I looked at this, you can tell that this is a bizarre painting. first of all. German sailor talking about setting sail. First of all, notice that this dock here, these founding stones. Okay, you see that? I see this helm on here painted red and the lighthouse. First of all, you can tell that this is very similar to that of a submarine, first and foremost. Okay. Then you have the ship sailing off with a bunch of sailors on it. Now, this guy here is split in the middle. Now you see on this side here, it shows the ship telling you that's going on land, that's attacking genes that were created on land. So this is on top of water. So you don't know about the genes that came from underneath the water, talking about the genes that closer to these are the genes that are talking about created of us that we know about of our ancestors of land. The genes that you do not know about are the procured genes of those that came from out of the sea. And that's what is being referenced on this side with this group of flags. Under our ancestors that came, our oceanic ancestors, that's a better way of saying it. And that's what this is referencing. And that's why this object over here looks like a submarine. And these genes are secured underneath these flags on that side. That's what this is actually stating. Okay, this is also why you in my video I just did on the Beatles, the yellow submarine. This is also the reason why you see that yellow submarine in that Beatles Beatles album cover. Again, I've tied the Beatles to a similar cult-like scenario where there are references being made about genetics and the altering of mankind's being, where these genetics actually, the original genes are ape and African, and those before, they're referencing how these genes were altered, and it later called for the strengthening of our Caucasian counterparts' genes over that of our ape and African genes, which were a tough gene to overcome. And there are records of this. This is just another of one of those records. Okay, so look at this as a submarine carrying oceanic. They're talking about oceanic bridging over. This is blood representing of semen, the red and the white. Okay, the ship is attacking them on land. Here's on this side is telling you that these genes here, there's a strong presence in them, and they're saying that they're going to alter them. That's what this is. This image is stating. Here on land, on this side, it's showing you the flags. Okay. Now let me discuss a little bit about all of this before we go into detail. You must first admit that this is very strange here. Very, very, very strange. Okay. And Otto Dix is a controversial painter. He also has a painting that is in the Vatican collection that is bizarre as well. You know, this man makes very controversial paintings, and again, I can't stress the fact enough that what is the Vatican even doing collecting paintings from such a controversial artist that makes paintings that are unusual and bizarre, very sexual in nature, very graphic. There's vaginas, there's penises, and all of this. And do I have that painting here by the fact, or if I have that painting, I can bring that up for you. Knowing me, I don't have it here, and I don't see it. Let me see if I have that painting. Yeah, the Vatican has one of Otto Dix's paintings in their collection, and this is just happens to be one of them. Okay, now do yourself a favor and Google Otto Dix and go up to the top and press images and look at the paintings that this man has created. Once you look at those paintings, come to the conclusion with me that the Vatican has no business with this man's art and its collection. And you must agree with me anyway that why is there a interest in the Vatican to have a collection of art in the first place? Again, look at ancient rooted royalty and look at ancient rooted religion. Why are they bothering to collect all of these arts? I mean, they're taking in donations from people, off of taxes, off of regular donations. Well, taxes also is in the form of tithes. Tithes is just another form of taxes. Why are they having these collections of arts? When you have so many people around the globe suffering for so many other reasons and things, why are these people, I mean, in my mind, why are they being permitted to live and behave in the way that they're behaving? I mean, it's just abnormal to me. I mean, it's inconceivable. I just can't realize why this is, why a world of such bright-minded people are even allowing this. All right, but anyway, let's talk about this, because here is another reference to why you should put an end to this bullshit. All right, this man, or they call him Hamburg, or I guess he's a representative of Hamburg, meaning that he's carrying Hamburg, Germany's genes, genetics, showing you that he's going off and he's now committing sexual acts globally in this nature. And this is the picture of what he has in mind when he travels these 6 flags, or 7 flags actually, you don't see the other. This is what he has in mind of doing. So he's telling you that he's setting sail above on these genes. He's genetically altered on land, and he's genetically altering, look, the founding blocks. These are blocks of those that was created on our ancestors from the ocean. And that's what this is, this submarine is stating. So the underwater oceanic, on top of water and underwater, meaning that below the waters, the genes that came from beneath the sea, that calls for the existence of mankind. That's what this sub is covering, underwater. Again, referencing that of the Beatles' Yellow Submarine. The blood and the semen being altered there. And then those that emerged onto land is being altered as well too. So this is what this is symbolizing. When I get done, you'll see, and I'm going to make the tie for you people, because I always do. Now, this man's picture in his mind, tie that string to his mind. This is his thought, that he's going around to contaminate women of the world. Virgins in monasteries. You're probably going to wonder, how in the hell did he get into a monastery to make love to these nuns in these areas? Well, he has a pass key, and I'll tell you who gave him the pass key to do this in a minute. Then those on the lower lands and ends, meaning prostitutes, those on the street level, this man is going out as a genetic sacrificer. He's sacrificing his body genetically to contaminate these locations. And this is what this is boasting of. Now, let's leave this picture. This is a man with a vagina. Let's look at this woman as a vagina, because that's what he's showing you here. He has her breasts. He's I'm showing sex. So this is her vagina. I'm telling you that he's altering her. How's he altering her? He's giving her his bodily fluid. What is his bodily fluid? It's shown right here in this one shell right here. He's giving her his semen orally and vaginally, and through the vagina. So look at this shell right here. It looks odd, right? It looks like a vagina, doesn't it? Doesn't that look like a vagina? That's what I thought when I first looked at it. Don't you see a vagina there? Well, it's just part of the vagina. The vagina is right here. This woman is a representation of the vagina. He's telling you that he entered the vagina. This here is what we call the uterus. This is the uterus. This image is portraying the uterus. For those of y'all that don't know, this is the fundus of the uterus, and here is the lower portion of the uterus. Let me show you what that looks like. That shell that's in that picture is describing this right here, the uterus. Now, it gets better, people, because I'm stating that there is genetic contamination. So, we did that. Let me show you what is being contaminated. There's a description of, let's go through the things down here. And by the way, people, you know, ever notice where you see like people discussing roots or tarot readers and all of them, or people talking about fertility, how you see them talking about utilization of shells to create fertility, to make babies, or to do this, that, and the third. Or you see about witch doctors that use shells and reading shells and throwing shells out. That this is what this is almost symbolizing right here. But it gets deeper than that, people, because these shells in this case are telling you a story that is right in your face. Let's go to this little object right here. So this is our uterus. I already identified the uterus. Okay, right there, attaching that odd looking shell. So I identified this here as semen, shown coming off the picture, which represents the contamination. And there's a little nut down there showing you that that's a nut semen. Okay, that's what for those of you that don't know, nuts, semen. That's what that describes, come from our testicles, the nut from the testicle. All right. So here, let's go to this funny looking object here. What is that? Well, you have to take this object and tie it into this open shell object right here. And you know what that is? This is describing a dermoid cyst. A dermoid cyst. D-E-R-M-O-I-D. And of course, you know how to spell cyst. So what is a dermoid cyst? Well, you take this little object here and put it inside of there, and you'll have your dermoid cyst. I'm going to give you a larger image of it. It is this. I'm going to discuss to you what a dermoid cyst is in a minute. There's your dermoid cyst. See those spikies, the hair and all of that? Let me tell you what a dermoid cyst is. That's this. Right here. You take this little object here and put it over into there, and you have a dermoid cyst. The dermoid cyst is a teratoma that contains an array of developmentally mature solid tissues. It frequently consists of skin, complete hair follicles, and sweat glands. Over commonly found components including clumps of long hair, pockets of sebum, blood, fat, bone, nails, teeth, eyes, cartilage, and thyroid tissue. So you're talking about, hold on. You're talking about a living creature. Okay, that's in the uterus area. An infection, in other words, have you, a tumor. Because it grows slowly and contains mature tissue, a dermoid cyst is always benign, cancerous. The rare malignant dermoid cyst usually develops squamous cells, calympia, whatever, in adults. And in infants and children, it usually develops an epidermal sinus tumor. So there's your contamination. This man is talking about setting sail with these infections to contaminate women of these flags by this artist's definition. Now, it gets better than that, people, because I have to identify the rest of the stuff that is there. Now, I discussed cancer, that this is a cancerous effect. So there is the crab, which references cancer, and you see the crab's leg is over here towards this, which means the cancer. So let's go to this little guy right here, this little shell right here, that creates like a little vagina open in it, in that shell right there. Well, that crab is a reference of cancer. So you see it at the vagina, at this, with this shell looking like a vagina here. You see that? Because it's not a vagina, it looks like a vagina. What kind of this is a cancer. The crab, everybody knows the crab represents cancer. Well, this little shell is specifically colored. And you know what the color of that specific shell is? This is the identification of what that shell looks like. You know what this is? This is an indication of cancer. Cancerous skin tumors. That's what that is. Meaning, again, infection. So if you look at this shell here, you'll get this image. It's a cancer. A related form of cancer. Skin cancer. Around what? Around the uterus and vagina area, which is referenced in this. Your crab. There's your cancer. How can I tie all of this together, people? Now, here's a couple other little identifying features here. This little guy right here on top of the what I'm describe this as the fundus of the uterus. This little object right here, this little nut-looking object here, and then this shell that creates almost like a flower. I'm stating that inside of the ovary, that you have those two objects. If you look inside of the ovary, which is right here, there's that white little shell and that little like brownish nut right next to it. And this is discussing inside of the ovary right there. And I'm telling you that these two objects right here are referencing that. Now, here's where, oh, hold on, before I go to the next thing, let's go to Hamburg, and then I'm going to sum it up with what this is, as if you already have not guessed. Now, it's my position that Hamburg, that's who this guy is, talking with his anchor on his helmet, a sailor, on his chest. He represents a flag, and look how big his flag is over the rest of the other flags. He's representing a flag. What flag is he representing? The North German man of war flag. How can I arrive at that? And notice that it has a cross in the middle. He's stating that he's crossed between all of these other flags. He's crossed. Look, people. The North German man of war flag. The cross symbols. Cross, cross. The cross means the cross referencing of mankind's being, mankind's genetics. I'm the first person that have ever said that. Now, how do I come up? This man is from Hamburg, Germany. North German Union man of war flag has the bird with his wings up and right there. Now, why is that same bird right here tattooed on that man's chest? See what I'm saying, people? So, the North German Union man of war. He's representing. So, if there was a peace treaty signed, why is this man looking all evil, according to this artist's description, with that insignia on his chest and under the impression of war? Why is these ships setting sail when there was a peace treaty signed in 1921? You know why? Because the war is not over for these people. You know what they're stating? That it has just begun. They're setting sail to genetically contaminate other parts of the world. It's not a war of bombs and airplane strikes and combat. It's genetic warfare, where the contamination of women on these flags have taken place. And that's what this is showing us. Now, let's go back to some of those, before I go with the most shocking thing about this image. Let's go back to so many, let's think about men of war, or scenarios where men in uniform frequent the bars. Think about the Dutch scenarios, or how all of the old movies that we have where these guys are in bars drinking and all of that, and the women get onto them like this here. And think about all of the possibilities of ships filled and subs filled of these genes, these genetics, with these guys that are on a suicide mission, pack mission, with their own bodies to genetically contaminate other areas. And everywhere these ships dock, let's say, what do you think one of those vessels can carry? Maybe what, 1,500 soldiers or 1,500 sailors, I mean? Every time. And their mission is to go to targeted areas and spread cancerous genes that would cause later damning effects to the reproductive systems of the women that they are with. Well, it's something to think about, isn't it? Now, let me show you something else. Oh, by the way, too, people, if science wants to prove all of this, all you have to do is take this scenario that I provide, or I present, or I pose, and take it, look at the years, look at the dates, and then look at the other scenarios that I can show you where the same thing has been going on from time to time to time to time to time to time to time. Because it's a degradation of what is already existing to create new, while laying in its wake the destruction of the old. Look at these third world countries. Look at what is happening, people. Look at what is happening globally. Now, I promised you that I would tell you what's going on. There's always a reference of royalty, and because this is not allowed to happen. You know, ancient rooted royalty and ancient rooted religion are has a stronghold in our world globally. A stronghold on they have a chokehold on our world globally. So wherever this is being referenced, this is not allowed without the approval of them. So where is the reference? Look at the stars, which represent our ancient rooted royalty. Look at this. Look at these supposedly starfish. Look at the star. Look. Now this is in 1921, mind you. That the stars, I'm telling you, represents ancient rooted royalty, and ancient rooted religion is represented by the popal cap, stating you that the popal cap is a representation. It is the king over the woman's uterus. You see this popal cap? Now, to identify this popal cap, all you have to do is Google an image of 1921, of a 1921 popal. They call it a popal tiara. So, there's the popal tiara. This is not no damn shell, people. Now, there are shells. I Googled to see types of shells. Now, there are shells that come close to this. And I was shocked to see that, because I said to myself, I never seen no shell like that. When I seen that shell, the first thing I thought was a vagina, and I thought a popal's cap, or a popal tiara. That's the first thing I thought. So I said, okay. I said, after I verified everything else, I stated to myself, well, let's Google 1921 popal cap, and it came up 1921 popal tiara. And there's the image that I got. That, people, is this. Right there. Another thing that is indicated, because this tiara has a cross on top of it. It's amazing that in the North German man of war, I don't know what in the world this object is, but it also is in the shape of in the bird's claws grasp there. There's also seemingly a popal cap with a cross on the top, and on this side, this bird has seemingly a sword or some type of staff, which represents our royalty, and then on the top would be the insignia of the German, which saying this their cross reference through all of that. They're in allegiance with ancient rooted royalty and ancient rooted religion to alter the genetic being of mankind, which is done through what? As it has always been, through the vagina and through the penis, and it begins with those of the woman. It's showing you this man with a loose woman, meaning a woman that is free, carefree with her body. Where it begins and where it starts at. And a spread of infection. What infection? Cancer within the uterus, which calls for cysts to develop, and specifically a dermoid cyst, which actually is almost similar to becoming impregnated, because this thing has teeth, hair, living tissue to grow in a woman's uterus, and it's described all here by the use of seashells. Purposely sent this guy, well, not this guy, guys, because he's just one of many that set sail out to contaminate certain locations. So, if studies were done on this, on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 locations, there would no doubt be evidence of this cancer, which is described here by this artist, on these locations. A study would show everything and verify everything that I just said. You see what is happening, people? Now, if they would go through the lengths, I'm talking about ancient rooted religion and ancient rooted royalty. If they go through the lengths to do that, global genocide, crimes against humanity, in allegiance with other powers, superpowers, if they go through doing that, people, then what lengths would they go through of the contamination of your food, specifically baby formulas, starting at that level, to vaccination shots that you get. People, there's a major problem. There's a real serious problem. And this is what has always been happening in the past. And this is what people, we are in trouble about. Now you have it where it's becoming more blatant, where you have song artists, commercials, people in powerful places doing this, subjecting themselves to this. And people, when I tell you that none of them have no idea what the fuck they're getting into, I tell you, I'm having a genuine paranormal experience and encounter. And when I tell you that all of this shit is a bridge to nowhere, it is a bridge to nowhere. They have no idea what they are doing. This is just a pleasure palace just for our world. I've been beyond, and not in just through my experience and my encounter, but I envisioned where all of this is going. And I know where it needs to go. People, my name is Jerome Wright, and I'm telling you that there needs to be a change. This needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed now. If people do not start standing up, if those that see this video look at it and dismiss it as anything than when I just described it, because I mean, even in layman's terms, describing this to you, I've shown you what is here before your eyes. Shown you, look, it's right here. And broke down details of everything. So you have experts today that can go, you will have a gynecologist and come and say, well, he's right. There's all of these things right here that is associated with that dermoid cyst. It's just described in the sense of being shown and depicted with that of seashells. But he's 100% right. Well, damn it, do something about it. Behind what is being described here by this 1921 artist is suggesting that through a chemistry created through kingship, ancient rooted kingship and papacy, a cancerous gene was created. And it shows upon where it went through their experiment of contamination. My name is Jerome Wright. Again, another video by me. So when you start realizing things that are going wrong with you, your body, this, that, and what's happening with you, why you're breaking out on your mouth, why you're breaking out on your ass, why you're breaking out, why is this happening with you? Why do you have chronic this? Why do you have chronic that? People, I can show you where the answers lie. There are cures for this shit because these are the people that caused it. They know what it is. If you know where the cause and the origins of it, then you know how to backtrack to go ahead and create an antidote for it. This is the power behind the knowledge of all of this. People, I am having a genuine paranormal experience and encounter. My name is Jerome Wright, and thank you for watching my video. Everybody, Jerome Wright here again, and once again you're joining me on my Jerome Wright YouTube channel here on YouTube. In this video I'm going to be decoding a 1921 painting by famed German artist Otto Dix. I have been doing artwork on him all week, so I have 4 other videos with paintings behind this one, which actually references that and ties Otto Dix to a hidden knowledge that only a privileged few or a select few are entitled to have, and it references the genetic bridging and altering of mankind's being, which or disposed had been came from Africa, so they said, that where they stated that these Africans were messing with monkeys. If that's the case, and they were messing with monkeys all along, and AIDS would have been out a long time ago. It's these genes, these diseases, these cancers, they are being created. It's a manufacturing through a gene manufacturing through a cult-like ritual that has always been in place by our ancestors, and it's designed to destroy. It's designed to strengthen other genes and destroy the ones that are not needed, that are extracted. So it's in the wake. It's like death and resurrection, creation of new, and death to the old, and that's what this is detailing. And I'm going to capture a lot of that here in this painting and show you there's an involvement of higher royalty and that of ancient rooted religion, and there can be always references of this knowledge actually referenced therein. These paintings, please forgive me because I'm all over the place today in thoughts. I have other things on my mind. I sometimes be that way when information is coming in and then going out. I mean, I'm having a genuine paranormal experience and encounter, and if I sound somewhat distant sometime and confused, it's because I actually am. All right, so I'm just imagine all of this information. My mind is like an information highway where things are constantly coming in and going out through my genuine paranormal experience and encounter. All right, I'm going to be sharing with you a very extraordinary. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you next is going to definitely have you wondering about not just the peace treaty, but the motives and everything else behind it. And I mean, things that I'm stating here, I mean, in my mind, it references crimes against humanity, genetic contamination, genetic altering, and it fingers and targets the culprits and the suspects in this. I mean, I won't be surprised if the things that I'm finding and disclosing here may even at some point be a cause for war later on down the line here. I'm telling you that this thing, as it unfolds, more and more is coming into light as to what is going on. I mean, I remember when AIDS first came out in Africa, realization here about this painting, and it's gonna absolutely blow your mind away in what I actually can do with this. Okay, again, this is Otto Dix painting, Goodbye, and the title of it is The Goodbye to Hamburg, and it's dated 1921. So, also I want to tell you something about 1921, because something that happened between the U.S. and the Germans in 1921 was the fact that there was a U.S.-German peace treaty signed in that same year. So not only was this painting created in 1921, but there was a U.S. and German peace treaty signed.